Welcome to Barnstable Today. I'm Nick Cortez. Another week of discussion on our daily talk show, Barnstable This Morning, has come to a close. So today, we're bringing you some of the most interesting perspectives and information during the week that was. The discussion surrounding the issue of homelessness on and around Main Street, Hyannis, remained a hot topic this week, primarily because of a spirited meeting held at the end of last week between many of the stakeholders working on the problem. Barnstable Police Chief Paul McDonald made waves at that meeting, suggesting that Housing Assistance Corporation could help the situation by closing the Noah shelter. He joined us on Tuesday, June 15th, to explain his comments.
I'm wondering what led you to make that suggestion.
It doesn't work, Nick. Simply put, the shelter's been there for over 25 years. And over 25 years, the problem has just grown and gotten worse. This is a proven format that simply does not work. It has to be shut down and rethought and reopened in a much smaller facility with clear-cut goals and objectives on how they're going to handle the problem. And right now, all they're doing is simply warehousing people, opening the doors at 7 o'clock in the morning. The people leave the shelter, and they have this mentality of hanging around all day long, waiting for the free lunch, going back to the shelter, and the whole cycle repeats itself.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing is being done to address the problem.
Now, Chief, I'm kind of wondering, you've been in policing for a long time. I'm wondering why this revelation is being had now. Is it because we've seen an alternative that works better? Is that why? Or is there some other reason why people are just sort of realizing that this sheltering system is broken?
18 months ago, when the grant came down, everybody got together, and the first time in my 30-year career, all the social service agencies, all the town departments, the fire department, the police department, they all got together, they all sat around the table, and they all came up with a plan, a clear-cut plan that was well thought out, with clear-cut goals and objectives on how to deal with the homeless who are causing the problems on Main Street, Hyannis.
Mm-hmm.
They put that plan, they had a plan of action, they put it in place, and to me, it was incredible. To me, it's almost a model plan that can not only be used on the Cape, but across the state, but across the country. The plan really worked. We identified 93 individuals, and although not all 93 were placed, the vast majority were placed. There's 32 of them that no one can even identify where they are, which means they left Hyannis,
Yep.
They went back to the place of origin, which means it was a success. My problem is that plan's getting ready to shut down, but they're keeping the Noah shelter. They have a plan in place that actually worked. Then they have a Noah shelter, the sheltering program, which we know doesn't work, but that's going to stay up and running. And I have a problem with that.
Father's Day is Sunday, June 20th, and one of the biggest events for dads here in Barnstable is the Hyannis Area Chamber of Commerce's annual Father's Day Car Show, which will be held this Sunday from 8:30 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. on Main Street. During our Business Wednesday program, Jessica Tinty, the Vice President of Operations at the Chamber, joined us to talk about the event. So obviously this has been going on for quite some time now, and generally speaking, it's a huge success. Granted, and I know you don't really want to talk about the fact that the weather was so bad last year, but like I said a minute ago, I went last year, and I still had a great time anyway, but you kind of got the sense that it could be a lot more than what it was because of the rain. And I think the forecast is looking pretty good for this Sunday right now. Is that? I'm sure you're monitoring it like hourly.
Yeah, we actually are, and it's kind of funny because as of last week, we didn't have as many people signed up for the car show, and as soon as we started looking at the weather, starting Monday, we have been bombarded with people signing up for the car show.
That's great.
So the good weather does help. A lot of people don't want to take their classic cars out in the rain, which is understandable. But
yeah. So how many cars do you think that you're going to have, providing that everything stays sunny like we know it will?
Oh, it's going to be a sellout. We'll have 350-plus cars.
Amazing.
Easily.
So I want to talk a little bit about what this does, and I'm not sure if you have any statistics on it or anything like that for surrounding local businesses, because obviously you're putting potentially thousands of people on Main Street, hundreds of cars. This has got to be a good thing for businesses all around the area.
Well, typically on a good day, we bring in, and this is police estimate, is 50 to 60,000 people to Main Street.
Ooh, wow.
Yeah, and actually last year they estimated that we had 30 to 35,000 people on Main Street.
And that's even with the bad weather, so.
Yeah, I know. So you can imagine the impact on the businesses. So, it is a huge impact for the businesses. And it's very important that they're open this weekend, especially on Main Street. We bring in these the families, and some people don't necessarily like cars or don't want to see the car show, so they go shopping.
On Thursday, June 17th, Assistant Town Manager and County Assembly of Delegates Representative Tom Lynch joined us for an update on recent happenings in county government. He told us that there was some discussion at this week's assembly meeting over how to more effectively administer a homelessness prevention grant given to the county by the state. And as you'll hear, he had some interesting thoughts relating to that portion of that grant that goes to Housing Assistance Corporation, the organization that operates the NOAA shelter.
This might be a radical thought, but I'll throw it out there anyway.
Okay.
Is there any thought in your mind of the money that's going to Housing Assistance Corporation, readjusting that sort of as an economic sanction for lack of cooperation on the NOAA shelter?
Well, what came out from a recent seminar that we had around the success of the Main Street Initiative was that states were redirecting money from sheltering programs to housing stabilization programs, which is more along the lines of what the Main Street Initiative did with its success with the 93 individuals that were spoken about in the past. So I think rather than it being a sanction, I think that first they do have to be accountable for the money that was spent in the grant, the commitments made. We'd like to hold them to those commitments for a reduction in beds. But I think rather than think of it as a sanction, I think if we can think of the philosophical redirection and see that the sheltering system over the years hasn't worked and there is a more effective model, that's the direction we should be spending our funds in.
Are you saying that's going to happen?
I'm hopeful that legislators and others will embrace that, because there was some good evidence that case management models work.
Also this week, I was finally able to get out from behind the desk and into the field for our weekly water protection segment. Our travels took us to Sandy Neck Beach Park, where a park manager, Nina Coleman, explained to us the fragility of the ecosystem and one of the factors most important to preserving its beauty. Tell us a little bit about the ecosystem that is Sandy Neck. I mean, we had the good fortune of going on a tour with you earlier and just seeing all this beautiful stuff, but it seems like there's such a delicate balance out here that it's a pretty fragile place.
Yeah, Sandy Neck is a very fragile, it's called the Barrier Beach. It's about 6.5 miles long, and obviously it's protecting the whole north side of Barnstable with the Great Marsh behind it. So it is very fragile and a very dynamic system. It changes, year to year, almost day to day.
Mm-hmm. So with that being said, obviously human interference it can't necessarily be good, but I guess we can be good stewards of the beach being out here. Talk to us a little bit about what you'd like to see from people if they're out here with a camper or hiking or they're putting up the tents in the camping area. What do you want to see from people that would make you feel good that we're doing the best that we can to preserve this beautiful place?
Well, one of the biggest issues on Sandy Neck is erosion. It is a natural occurring phenomenon on Sandy Neck, but what humans do is accelerate it by their activities. So we want to allow recreational opportunities like RV camping and four-wheel drive vehicles and hiking, but people need to be responsible when they do that. So we are very strict about people staying out of the dune system to keep from walking on that dune. A few foot tracks through the dune, especially the primary dune, that area becomes very delicate and can blow right out with a storm, and then you could have the salt water obviously getting further back, and we'll lose more and more beach, and that would affect really everything on the north side here. So we keep everybody out of the dunes. The vehicles are not allowed to be at the toe of the dune. There's fencing up on the whole 6.5 miles of beach to keep vehicles in the area where they will not increase erosion.
If you'd like to see these complete interviews, every episode of Barnstable This Morning is available to watch on demand at the town's website. Just log on to town.barnstable.ma.us. Well, that's all for now. I'm Nick Cortez. Everybody have a great weekend, and we'll see you next time on Barnstable Today.